Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Social media does not threaten democracy is my proposition. You know, I'm not a doctor, but my learned opponents here seem to be suffering from two very common human afflictions: deep paranoia and even deeper myopia. Now, let me start with paranoia. The famous author Douglas Adams once said, "All media and technology that exists when we are born, we find normal and acceptable. All media and technology that is invented before we turn 35, we find exciting. And everything that comes thereafter is either threatening or suspicious." We as humans, unfortunately or fortunately, we as humans tend to congregate with this flurry of anxieties around a paradigm shift in technology, particularly communication. Cases in point. In 1996, at the advent of email, CNN reported, "Email threatens societal IQ more than smoking pot and threatens the basic structure and fabric of society." Before that, 1948, the invention of television. Apparently, Times reported saying, "This will destroy the most basic social unit of humans that humans have." And they were talking about the family. Even before that, in 1667, there was a scholar from Oxford, Andrew Wood, and he was referring to coffee houses, emergence of coffee houses, which is just sort of the stiff upper lip version of the Nukkad Chaiwala, arguably the earliest form of social media. And he spoke of coffee houses and said, "Reasoning and solid logic has now been replaced with insidious slander and gossip and is threatening democracy." In 1667. Let's keep rolling back. Can you imagine the intense rage and anxiety and debate that must have occurred when man discovered fire? Imagine. Circa 4000 BC, an amphitheater like this, the prehistoric Flintstones are having a debate. Mrs. Flintstone gets to the podium and says, "Let's light the fire and feed the family." Mr. Flintstone, for the motion, says, "No, wait, it burns and it threatens democracy." From fire to coffee houses, to printing presses, to newspapers, to the selection of Supreme Court judges and to the election of right-wing politicians, I have lost count of the number of things that have threatened democracy across the ages. And yet, here we stand today in a world where for the first time more than 50% of the world's population does live in a democratic regime. The second affliction, deep myopia. I must commend the organizers for a very precisely worded motion. Social media threatens democracy. As if there is an anti-social media that loves it somewhere. My proposition is all media across ages, since time immemorial, has been seen to be threatening all power structures in political regimes, not just democratic ones. The only difference is democratic ones allow it to do so, autocratic ones do not. The full force and absurdity of this motion hit me when I started looking for some numbers to support my argument. 95% of Twitter users live in democratic regimes today. 92% of Facebook users are in democracies. Some 96% of YouTube content is generated in democracies. So I wonder, what other regime could we have debated about tonight anyways? The one where Facebook does not exist? The truth is, regimes which are truly threatened by social media have truly modified, strangled, and removed social media. What is at stake today? So what is threatened today is not democracy, ladies and gentlemen. What is threatened today is the credibility of social media. Either it will reform itself and adapt itself, or if it does not, it will be weeded out. In either case, it does not threaten democracy. You know, many moons ago, I made the unfortunate and hasty decision to move to New York, and I swapped the world's largest democracy for its messiest one. Since then, I have had to travel to India once every month across years. And this constant travel has reminded me of two things. It's given me two deep realizations in life. One, that air travel is nature's way of making you look like that picture in the passport. And two, more importantly, no matter how different two democracies look at the surface, what's common in democracies is its ability to take the worst outcome off the table. Let me conclude by saying dissent, discord, and mistrust are not the viral infections that kill democracy. They are the antibodies that fire up its immune response. And what threatens democracy actually strengthens it. I rest my case.
Thank you so much, and I open the